All I gotta say is, it's about time. The weather has finally gotten warmer because I'm so tired of that long and horrible winter we had here for so many months. But anyways, hi, my name's Aramis. Nice to meet all of you. If you guys have known me in the past or seen me before, I'm still alive. I'm still here. Had a nice glow up too. But for those of you that do not know me and are new here, welcome, and I hope you guys are doing well. You know, I've always wanted to make this video for a very long time, but I haven't gotten around to doing it, mainly because I've been so busy. But I'm here now. I'm here now, and I have an important message I want to share with all of you that I think is worth listening to. After taking a moment to talk to so many people around the city, I came across an idea I had in my head for many years that has now become a growing sentiment around the world. And it's the idea that 2019 felt like the last normal year in our lives. And honestly, after seeing the way the world is right now, I agree. I do believe 2019 felt like the last normal year. And it's mainly due to the fact that the energy has changed a lot since then. I've noticed that a lot more people have become less social and more distant than ever before, which is something I came to realization one day coming home from the train. I was in a car surrounded by so many people to the point where I literally had to hold on to a bar just so I wouldn't fall. And as I was looking around, I've noticed nobody was talking with each other. Everyone was just using their phones, which naturally, I do that a lot myself when traveling, and I can understand not many people have enough time in their day to communicate, given that they have important things like school or work. However, when you see that every single day like I have for many years, you start to ask yourself, is this really normal? Is this really where society is headed? And for me personally, I do not think this is normal at all. And the main reason I believe people have become so distant over the years has been due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, it's pretty crazy to think such a historic event like this that has not only changed so many people's lives, but the entire world, it's not something really talked about much, even though the effects of that event still linger to this day. And when you consider how much people have lost during that time as well, such as opportunities in life, friends and family, and experiences many will never have the chance at ever again, you can start to understand why people have become a lot more harder on themselves over the years. And as someone who's lost a lot during that time as well, I can relate. I never had the opportunity to graduate with my friends in high school. I never had the chance to thank all the amazing teachers who have helped me become a better person in life. And worst of all, months into that pandemic, I lost a friend. My algebra teacher, Sally, passed away from the virus, and when we all heard the news that she was no longer with us, it left so many people, including myself, very devastated. She was someone who was not only kind to so many people and made every room she walked into much more brighter with her presence. She was the type of person to never make anyone feel like they were left behind and alone. And I still remember coming to that school for the very first time in my life where I thought I couldn't make any friends and I couldn't fit in. She was one of the first people to greet me in that building and make me feel welcomed in that new space. And one of the ways she did that was by giving me a gift that I still carry to this day from the first day we met, which was this lock. Now, this lock may not look like much, but it carries a lot of sentimental value because it represents the kindness and positivity she shared to so many people, including myself, which is something I hope to do in the future, as spreading kindness and positivity is always something I've always strived for. And I just want to say to all the teachers out there in the world, and especially to my teachers who have done the absolute best they can during those 4 years, and especially during that pandemic, when the entire world is at a pause and all of us were left scared and confused, I want to personally thank all of you guys for not only making that school feel like much more than a place where we can learn new things, but for making that school feel like a family. And to my algebra teacher, who's no longer here, I'd like to personally thank you for showing all of us a much more positive outlook on life, seeing the best in people, and for saving my life in so many ways. Because for the longest time, I thought the whole world is out to get me until you stepped into my world. And I hope you're resting well knowing that you have made the world a much more better place and that we'll all continue to miss you. And I hope you're resting well, my friend, because I miss you so much too. You know, it's pretty crazy to think this pandemic happened so many years ago to what still feels like just yesterday. I came home from school to see my entire family in the living room watching the news and hearing that this new virus has started to rapidly spread across the world. which later led to the announcement that there will be a quarantine being taken place across the city. And at the time when I was so young, not knowing much about what was going on, I called my friends and we all joked about not having to go to school, not having to study for an exam we weren't prepared for, and having more time to ourselves to play video games. But not understanding the severity of the situation, like that virus and that pandemic, a quarantine we all thought in our heads would be nothing more than a winter break or a school week off. Unfortunately, that event managed to stretch across many weeks to many months, and what became our new lives in the upcoming years. And still to this day, I think about that moment as it haunts me, because I cannot imagine what so many people from around the world have dealt with during those years of isolation. You see, months into that pandemic, I changed a lot as a person. I went from someone who was very outgoing, carefree, and full of life, to someone who felt like my entire soul and identity was taken away. It got so bad to the point that I would wake up from bed only to go back to sleep, thinking nothing would change. And my entire worldview started to fall apart, believing that everything I worked hard towards up until that moment didn't matter anymore if this pandemic would have been the result of the entire world. I even started to have regrets that I wasn't there enough for my friends, spending less time studying and more time creating memories with them, which broke my heart in so many ways. However, one day my economics teacher paid a visit, and it turned out he was sent by the entire school along with the others to hand-deliver diplomas to the students as a way to boost morale. But by the time he got to my house, he saw my transformation. He saw how lifeless and still I've become, not even having the strength to open the door and take the diploma from his hands. And when our brief encounter ended, which is something I still regret to this day for the way I've acted, I walked upstairs to find out it wasn't just the diploma he delivered, but something else. And that was my high school yearbook. After taking a moment to flip through all the pages to see the amazing people who have supported me during those 4 years of my life, it brought a smile to my face. Seeing the pictures of all my friends playing around in the classrooms, to the moments we all shared together during the holidays as a family, and seeing all my teachers' faces filled with so much joy and happiness, looking at all of us as proud parents, brought a spark to my heart that I thought was lost forever. And much time later, with the help and support from my friends and family, I was finally able to heal. I was finally able to reclaim my sanity once more. But I've noticed ever since that pandemic concluded so many years ago, that a lot of you have not fully healed for what's happened during those years of quarantine. Every single day I walk around, I see so many people look unhappy, disconnected from each other, and lost. Which is why I want to say to those of you out there who are still dealing with the pain you've endured from that pandemic, just know that you are not alone, and that there are still people who care about you and want the best for you in life. Because as someone like myself who thought for many years I didn't have anyone to count on, I was proven otherwise. And I hope you guys see in your hearts as well that it's not so different. And I'm not going to pretend, ever since that event concluded, that life has gotten so much easier for all of us. People from around the world are financially struggling to live their lives. Mental health has greatly declined in and outside of those years of quarantine. And people's faith in humanity has slowly started to fade away, given that the entire world does not operate in our best interests. But I really do believe that if we all take a moment to communicate, understand each other, and heal ourselves, that we can eventually heal the world. Because we don't have to continue living in a world where we are stuck in this survivalist mentality, only thinking about ourselves instead of helping others. We don't have to continue living in a world where we are so trapped and consumed by technology as a way to cope with the pain we've endured for so long, instead of living a much more fulfilled life. Because right now, as it truly stands, it really does feel like over the years, we've all lost part of our humanity, and it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Which is why I want to ask all of you guys a very important question, and especially a question to my generation. As someone who's been put in a similar position like all of you, given that this pandemic and the events following it has unfortunately been our introduction to becoming a lot older in life, I just want to ask all of you guys, what happened? What happened to all of us? Whatever happened to that childlike wonder and imagination we all shared? The idea that we can make the world a better place as long as we believed in ourselves and believed in each other. The idea that we can live in a world united and celebrated, much like the pictures we've seen in our classrooms as children, where people from all walks of life are holding hands together around the globe. Because I remember for many years, our parents, our teachers, and those who looked after us saw that potential in us to make the world a better place. And it doesn't have to be a dream. It can be our reality. You want to know why? Because it's our turn to lead the world. It's our turn to make things right once more. Because the decisions that we make are going to dictate the future. And it's important to recognize that we have the power to make that world a bright and colorful place. And I have faith that it's possible. And I know it can be done. Because I believe faith is freedom. And for us to truly be free again, much like how we were so young and full of life, excited to wake up to a world, ready to meet new people, explore new places, and create new memories together, we need to have faith in ourselves that it's possible. You know, you think of how life has gotten so difficult for all of us, it would have made everyone realize what is truly important, which is the people we have and the time we share. And at a point in our lives right now, where this entire world has become a nightmare we wake up to every single day, we all need to cut away from the distractions that has plagued our hearts and our minds and has ultimately made us drift apart. Because for us to truly heal the world, we must first take the steps to heal each other, to work hard to bring back that aspect of humanity that's felt lost for so many years, that human connection that needs to be normalized again. Because deep down inside, all of us are not so different. And I can't save the world by myself. I'm not Superman after all, you know? I don't have the ability to fly, shoot lasers out of my eyes, or have super strength. Even though I am pretty fit given my stature, but much like the heroes we've all seen in stories and something we all share within ourselves that is just as important is the ability to do what's right and the ability to inspire others to do the same. So with that said, my final message to all of you, I understand that many of you are trying your absolute best to live a much more happier life with those you care about. And I understand, especially to my generation, that we are all trying our best to navigate this harsh world that we once thought was a bright and colorful place filled with so much potential. Whereas things have ultimately made us grow so much more unhappier as time progressed. And it really does feel like we are all losing ourselves as the years go by. Just know that we all have the power to escape that nightmare and create a better world for everyone. The unfortunate circumstances that has made us all grown so bitter and drifted apart doesn't have to exist anymore. So with that said, I just want to say to all of you, never forget that spark we all once shared when we were children. Never lose sight of that boundless imagination, that endless wonder, and that limitless potential. And most importantly, never lose faith in that freedom we all can create if we work together, fight for change, and unite as one. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time, okay? Peace.